Before anything else, leave a like on the video, check that you're subscribed, and turn on notifications. It really helps this content reach more supporters, and make sure you don't miss any important updates about Manchester City throughout this season. Now then, let's get into the latest information, because a lot is happening behind the scenes at the club and the picture is starting to change quickly. Manchester City have officially switched into action mode in this January window. What a few weeks ago looked like nothing more than a distant possibility is now being treated as a concrete necessity. The defense, which for much of the season showed signs of stability, has taken a significant hit in a short space of time, and that has forced the club to revisit plans that, until now, were kept in the drawer. The name gaining real momentum at the moment is Marc Guéhi, the Crystal Palace defender. A player City have tracked for a long time and who now appears as an immediate solution to a problem that has stopped being theoretical and become very real. Pep Guardiola's initial idea was to get through the season without major moves in the winter market. Internally, there was confidence the squad could cope with the odd absence here and there. However, the 1-1 draw against Chelsea completely changed the outlook. In that match, Joško Gvardiol and Ruben Dias both left the pitch with physical issues, almost at the same time, and that drastically reduced the options available in the defensive unit. What once looked manageable turned into a serious warning sign. With few natural alternatives for the role and an increasingly demanding schedule, City understood they had to act. It's not just about numbers, but about profile. Guéhi fits exactly the type of defender the club look for. Strong in 1v1 situations, secure in playing out from the back, with good reading of the game and enough experience to take on immediate responsibility. At 25, he's at a point in his career where he combines competitive maturity with room to improve, something that carries a lot of weight in City's analysis. On Crystal Palace's side, the situation has also evolved. For months, the message was total resistance. The club didn't want to hear about a sale and set very high figures even to start any conversation. Recently, though, the tone has shifted. Oliver Glasner publicly acknowledged that if a serious offer arrives and the player expresses a desire to leave, Palace may be forced to prioritize the financial side. That statement was taken as a clear signal of openness, exactly what City were waiting for to move more decisively. The information suggests Manchester City are preparing a first official offer in the region of $20 million. The structure would be split between a fixed fee, around $15 million, and bonuses that could raise the final amount. That number isn't random. Guéhi has only 6 months left on his contract, which completely changes the negotiating power. Paying that sort of figure now is seen as a way to get ahead of a bigger problem, but there's also the awareness that the player could leave for free in the summer. There's another important point in this equation. Behind the scenes, there's talk that City have already aligned the basics with Guéhi himself. It's not a signed agreement, but a clear understanding around the project, his role in the squad, and general conditions. The defender's interest in wearing the City shirt is real, especially with the chance to work under Pep Guardiola and compete for trophies on every front. That adds extra pressure on Crystal Palace, who risk losing their captain without any financial compensation in a few months' time. It's true that Palace, in the recent past, worked with much higher numbers, around $35 million, similar to figures discussed with other clubs in the summer. But that context was different. There was more time on the contract, more scope to keep the player, and less urgency. Now the clock is against them. Every week that passes without a deal pushes things closer to a free transfer, which is difficult to justify internally. City, for their part, are trying to stay calm. There's the option to push harder, raise the offer, and get it done quickly. But there's also the alternative of waiting, watching how the situation develops, and, if necessary, targeting a free arrival in the summer. That dual approach is part of the strategy. The club don't want to pay above what they consider fair, but they also understand the sporting context may demand an immediate response. Meanwhile, the atmosphere on the pitch reflects that tension too. The latest results have shown that small details are costing precious points, and the margin for error has tightened significantly. The feeling is that City are playing well, but any structural imbalance, and especially at the back, can have a direct impact on a title race that looks set to go down to the wire. So the Marc Guéhi situation isn't just another market negotiation. It symbolizes a shift in City's planning for this season. The club have gone from observers to protagonists in a matter of days, and the next moves could define a lot of what we see in the second half of the campaign. All of this is happening while Manchester City are also trying to deal with another problem that's been repeating in recent weeks and has visibly irritated Pep Guardiola. It isn't only about personnel in defense, it's also about efficiency in attack. Recent results have made it clear the team create, control, impose the tempo, but aren't turning that superiority into wins. The third consecutive draw of 2026 made that feeling even stronger, especially because of the match context and the way points slipped away again. In the most recent game, City started exactly as you'd expect from a Pep-coached side. High possession, quick circulation, intense pressure in the opposition half, and several dangerous arrivals in the box. The control was total, and the opponent struggled even to breathe. The problem is that this dominance didn't show on the scoreboard in the way it should have. Erling Haaland converted a penalty before halftime, after a foul on Jeremy Doku, but the situation called for far more than a one-goal lead. When the second half began, it was clear that keeping the opponent alive was a risk. Brighton returned with more confidence, occupied space better, and started to believe they could take something from the game. Even so, chances kept coming for City. Haaland had clear opportunities he normally doesn't miss. Bernardo Silva found himself free inside the box early in the second half and couldn't finish the way he wanted. Even with attacking changes and fresh options coming on, the ball just refused to go in. And in football, when you don't kill the game, punishment often follows. That's exactly what happened. Kaoru Mitoma received the ball at the edge of the area, had time to think, and finished calmly, giving the goalkeeper no chance. Suddenly, all the control, all the possession, and all the missed chances were worth just 1 point. A point that, in the context of a title race, matters far more than it seems at first glance. After the final whistle, Pep Guardiola didn't try to hide his frustration. He made it clear he doesn't like talking about deserving things, because football doesn't work like that. The result is what remains. And what remained was another draw. 2 more points dropped, and the feeling that City are making life harder for themselves. Pep was keen to praise several aspects of the performance, especially the attitude, organization, and how some younger players fitted into the team's dynamic, but he went straight to the central issue: a lack of clinical finishing. According to him, it isn't about one name or one specific position. It's a collective issue. The attacking unit as a whole need to be more decisive. Creating chances isn't enough if the ball doesn't go in. And when that happens repeatedly, confidence starts to suffer. Opponents grow into the game, and the match changes shape. Pep also spoke about the penalty decision, saying it was correct and that he didn't understand why VAR needed to intervene in such a clear situation. This run of draws also helps explain why the club have accelerated other moves off the pitch. City realized they needed solutions that would impact the team immediately, both to correct structural issues and to raise internal competition. That's the context for the signing of Antoine Semenyo, a deal that dragged on for weeks and is now very close to being made official. City handled this business with a lot of care. For a long time, it was believed the club would simply trigger the release clause and get it done quickly. But internally, the approach was different. The board and recruitment department chose to negotiate directly with Bournemouth, looking for a structure that would suit all sides. The idea was to strengthen the squad without creating unnecessary friction and without compromising financial planning. The outcome shows that approach worked. The agreement includes a significant fixed fee, supplemented by bonuses, as well as a sell-on clause for a future transfer profit. That allows Bournemouth to protect their interests while giving City flexibility on payments, which are expected to be spread over 2 years. That detail matters because it helps the club maintain financial balance even while investing heavily in the market. From the players' perspective, the alignment was total from the start. Semenyo showed early on that he wanted to wear the City shirt and work under Pep Guardiola. The long contract, 5.5 years, reflects that mutual trust. The wages also make it clear he isn't arriving just to make up the numbers, but to compete for minutes and be a real option within the attacking rotation. Semenyo's farewell to Bournemouth couldn't have been more symbolic. Scoring a decisive stoppage-time goal in a big match was almost a practical confirmation of why City pushed so hard for this signing. Shortly afterwards, he traveled to Manchester to undergo medical tests and finalize the last bureaucratic details. If everything goes as expected, the official announcement is only a matter of time. When you put all these pieces together, the picture starts to make sense. The possible arrival of Marc Guéhi answers an urgent need in defense. The signing of Semenyo looks like a clear attempt to inject new energy into the attack at a time when finishing has dropped off. And Pep Guardiola's words show a demanding manager, fully aware of the issues and willing to address them directly, without detours. Manchester City are now entering a decisive phase of the season. Every match carries extra weight, and every decision off the pitch becomes even more important. The next few weeks may define not only the title race, but also how the club are viewed in the market and within the competition itself. There's confidence in the work, but also urgency to turn performances into results. If you enjoyed this content and want to keep up with all the latest Manchester City updates, leave a like on the video, check that you're subscribed to the channel, and turn on notifications. It makes all the difference so you don't miss any important updates.